Hi, my name's Leanna. At Best Food Forward today we're going to make a vegetarian chilli. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dice our onion. Now I'm using half an onion here. You can use a whole onion, but this is a fairly large onion, so all I've done is cut the tip off, peel back the skin, and I'm just going to slice it into slices going across the onion, nice and tightly together, quite small chunks. And then when we've got all the way across the onion, then I'm going to take my claw grip and go the other way. Now the reason for this is we want to make sure that our fingertips are behind our knuckles to keep our fingers safe, and it's just a good way of making sure that your onion is nicely in small pieces and diced. If you've got a larger onion, that's fine, you could use the whole thing, but you don't have to. So, when I've chopped my onion, I then can remove this piece and go on to my other veg. Today I'm going to use a pepper in it, a carrot, and some courgette. You don't have to use those things, you can use different things in as well, but those vegetables give a nice variety of colour to my dish. So with my pepper, I'm going to start off by cutting the lid off all the way down through. Then if you pop out this centre bit, you don't want that bit, but you can use this top. Some people forget to use that bit. We don't want any food waste, so we're going to use that bit. And then I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to run it around the inside of my pepper, making sure that my fingers aren't in the way. And if I just pull out the inside, then I should be able to give it a tap and all the seeds should come out. Again, I'm not going to use my whole pepper purely because I'm only cooking for 2 people today. So I'm going to cut it in half and then I'm going to save half my pepper for another recipe. So I'm going to slice my pepper. To start off with, just taking out any inside bits that are those white bits. There's nothing wrong with them, they don't poison you or anything. The only reason we take them out is because they have a slightly foamy texture to them, which isn't as nice in your chilli. So all I'm going to do is slice my chilli into nice thin slices, pepper into nice thin slices. Once I've gone this way, I then can go the alternative direction and get into nice pieces of diced chunks of pepper. So I'm just chopping the other way. Again, always making sure that my fingertips are nowhere near the end of the knife, that I'm keeping to those 2 types of grip, either the claw or the bridge. Okay. When I've chopped all the pepper that I'm happy with, I'm going to use some courgette and a carrot. I'm not going to dice my carrot or my courgette, I'm going to grate those. The reason for this is, particularly with the carrot, it takes quite a long time to cook. And if you have lots of vegetables that cook quite quickly and carrot that cooks quite slowly, what you're going to end up with is your chilli will be ready at different times, which means that your carrot probably won't be cooked properly. So I'm just going to grate my courgette, and with my carrot, I've given this a wash, but I'm just going to peel it. So one way to peel is just away from you, taking off that outside skin. You don't always need to peel your carrot. The only reason I'm doing it today is because sometimes they can have a tough skin. Then I'm just going to take the end off, but I'm not going to remove that tip, purely because that gives me something to hold on to. So I'm going to grate my carrot. Now it's really tempting to look away when you're grating, but don't, because it is really, really easy to slip and grate, especially your thumb, and it really, really hurts. So watch what you're doing. Go as slow as you need to be safe. And if you feel like you're getting to the end and you're getting a bit nervous, you can just stop and use this piece of carrot for other things. So don't panic. When I've got to there, I'm also going to put some garlic in. The way I'm going to do my garlic is just get a garlic clove. I'm going to lean on it, should click. Then I'm just going to take my knife and just take the top off, and then I should just be able to peel that garlic skin away really easily. You can use a garlic press if you want. You can chop it into slimy pieces. I'm just going to use this side of the grater. But especially with the garlic, because it's really tiny, make sure you're not looking away when you're grating. Really dangerous. Once I've grated that, my veg is prepped. I can just put my hand in to get the garlic out of there, and the carrot and the courgette out of the centre there, and then that's my veg prepped. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare my pan. So I've got a pan here, it's on a medium heat, heating up, and I'm going to put some oil in my pan. So I put about a tablespoon of oil in, and I'm going to add in my vegetables into my pan. We can go with all of the vegetables in at once today for a quick version, but you can add them more slowly if you want to. I've got my veg in my pan, and I'm going to add in some corn mince. You don't have to use corn mince, you could use a different type of mince. You could use beef mince. The good thing about corn mince is it's got high protein, low fat, and it's plant-based. And we are told by the government guidelines that we should be trying to eat a lower amount of meat. So that goes into our pan there, and that's going to start to cook. Now we want to turn this to a medium heat because you want to get all those nice flavours, but you don't want to burn it to the pan. So it's very important that you keep stirring it round. Make sure when you're stirring it especially, you're stirring the edge of the pan, not just the centre, because quite often people burn their bits of carrot to the edge of the pan because they're not stirring the whole thing. So into there as well, I need to add some flavours. I'm going to add some cumin. So this will give a nice sort of background flavour. It'll add just that little chilli flavour into it. So about a teaspoonful of cumin. And I've got some smoked paprika. Again, this will add a nice flavour. Paprika also has what's called an umami flavour, which is kind of like a savoury flavour. So it gives a bit more of the flavour of meat to my dish without actually adding any meat in. So add my paprika. I'm going to add a little bit more paprika. Again, you can choose how much you add to it. So more or less, depending on taste. So if you really like it, add a bit more. But don't add so much that it's going to end up powdery. So you do need to make sure you cook your spices out, otherwise they will taste unpleasant and powdery. So to that as well, I've got a stock cube. So my stock cubes, just again to give it a bit of flavour. And I'm also going to add some oregano. All of those things can be interchangeable. You can choose what you like to add to it. Make sure you're stirring it around the pan. If you find that it's starting to stick or starting to go a little bit dry, just add a little bit more of your oil in. So what I'm waiting for now is my veg to start to brown a little bit and to soften, and my corn to be fully defrosted. In here, I've got waiting to go onto the hob my rice. What I've done with my rice is I've put it in a sieve and rinsed it under a tap, then put it into my pan. Then I've topped my pan up with water, and how I know how much water to put in is if I put my finger in and touch the top of the rice, the water should come to your first knuckle there. If you put it up to here, it's going to be too much water. Just up to there, and then on a medium heat, then it should not need draining, and you should end up with nice fluffy rice without the need to rinse it or anything like that. My vegetables are starting to brown now, so I'm going to add in my tomato. I've got some tomato puree, but you could add in a tin of chopped tomatoes, or you could add in tomato passata, doesn't really matter. I'm going to add in, it just depends on what you prefer really. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of my chopped tomato, of my tomato puree in there, and give that a stir round. Now if you find that this is a bit dry, you could always add a little bit of water to it to slacken off the mixture. It depends on what you want your chilli to look like. So once I've added that into there, and that's getting to be cooked now, I've also got some chilli beans, or kidney beans. Kidney beans are really, really good because they're really high in protein, high in fibre, and they give you lots and lots of good things to keep yourself nice and full and to bulk out your chilli, and they're quite inexpensive. So those are going in there. You can add as many or as few of the chilli beans as you like, kidney beans as you like, it's up to you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of water to my dish, and then I'm going to allow this to cook on a simmer, so nice and low, for about 20 minutes. And that will reduce down, give a really nice flavour, really nice texture. At the end of that 20 minutes, my dish should be cooked and my rice should be cooked as well. Just going to finish off my chilli, so I've added in a little bit of fresh chilli into my dish just to finish it off. And then I'm just going to add my rice to my bowl. And that's nicely cooked now, just into the bottom. And then my chilli can go on the top. Again, this should be enough for at least 4 portions. Then that should go on there, and then you can top, if you wish, with a little fresh coriander, but that's personal choice. And my chilli is done.